Attention, please.
Okay, guys, show us what you got.
I did not like the milk stem.
That's fine for me. That's good.
This one was the most polite game I had ever seen.
That sounds perfect.
Those are just stupid things that aren't supposed to happen.
Ovie abused that guy.
I like the attitude.
Protect the house. Your teams, your season is on now.
Oh, they throw a flag.
It's sports talk.
It was time to stop this before something bad happened to him.
You see the post I put out there from Max Prep Sports where the kid at bat and the pitcher threw the ball right into the pocket of his hoodie?
I almost shared that.
Did you really?
A couple of people shared it this morning, and I thought it was hilarious.
One or two things going in there. So if the kid, was really trying to hit his spots, like he really meant to pitch inside like that, man, you need to get that pitcher because he could really hit his spots.
And, it leads me to ask this question, and I know the answer because there is a uniform code.
Right? Yeah, it's the other thing. Why are they wearing hoodies?
Yeah, I was going to say, my goodness, I'd wear a hoodie if I could.
Yeah, baggy, comfortable, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be, cold weather. It looked like a nice field, though. It looked like a 100% turf field.
And that's what's going on right now. Youth sports they've gone to those turf fields, which is really neat.
Yeah.
Our Northwestern's a turf field now.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think the Redskins laid it. And, there's a lot of pro sports teams that are laying down the rug for a lot of schools now.
You mean the football field is a rug?
I believe it is.
Well,
as a matter of fact, yes, it is. They put lights up and everything.
Not the baseball field, though.
No.
Yeah.
The baseball field looks like a cow pasture. It does, Kevin. It's a shame. It really is. That school's this school's 10 years old, maybe. That school's 10 years old. And,
that seems right. Yeah. Stephon Diggs played at Northwestern. DeMatha played good counsel there for...
I was there.
Yeah. And my son was playing.
Yeah, I was there. I was at that game.
I forgot why they settled on that field. I guess the PD Sportsplex wasn't available or something.
It may not have been, but, poor DeMatha. They have more money than a public school system itself. And, they were just like vagabonds. They were just, traveling their football team, just here to this, to that, to there,
Yeah.
Even their soccer and lacrosse programs, now Hyrick Field is turf, and, they have bleachers down there, so their soccer and lacrosse programs are down there playing.
Yeah, and that's such an out-of-the-way place. When you say Hyrick Field, most people are like, where the heck is that? It's sandwiched between East West and Riggs Road, right? Or Ager Road. Ager Road, right. That's crazy. It's back there. I mean, I know you played back there as a kid, but if you're not from the area...
That's where I broke my back.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. It's like, man, if you're not from the area, you wouldn't know where that field is.
No, and you know what? I haven't been... for obvious reason because of my health, but I used to go watch DeMatha play lacrosse a lot. They would play a couple of Montgomery County schools, like Georgetown Prep and Landon would come. Bolus would come and play them in
and
lacrosse.
they're no slouches. Those are some good programs, good games.
That's big-time lacrosse.
Yeah.
And one of the parents from Landon was just marveled. They were looking. They said, well, we heard we were coming to Hyattsville. And I started to roll my eyes, and they said, we did the same exact thing.
Yeah.
We grew up in Beltsville, so obviously they hit the number.
Yeah, okay.
But, they said they grew up in Beltsville. When they heard they were coming to Hyrick Field, they were blown away at the way it looked. Kevin, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
I've been told. I've never been back there. I've seen a couple pictures of it, though.
The next time you're in town, go make it a point.
Okay.
Yeah, make it a point to go over there. You'll be blown away. Now, you have to come in off of Nicholson Street. You can't go in down where the elementary school is.
Okay.
You used to park in that parking lot and then go across the footbridge over the creek.
Right.
No, you come in on Nicholson Street, right there where the dog park is at Hyrick Field, and there's a road that's about maybe 150 yards into the woods, and then it opens up into a big giant parking lot.
That's why people don't know it's back there, because you have to go back through the woods.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, DeMatha wanted to build parking on the biggest part of it back there so they could play their home football game.
Oh, no kidding.
They would have been able to put more bleachers up, and the park and planning wouldn't allow them to pave over because it was too close to the northwest branch, I guess it would be, the creek.
Right.
And that was they want to turn that into wetlands, because what used to be one of the old soccer fields down there, and I'm going way back, back into the corner where the footbridge is that goes into the parking lot where Edgar Road Elementary is, used to be the baseball field. And that's where not Nicholas Storm, that's where Green Meadows used to play a lot of their games.
Right.
See, and that's all that's all knee-deep grass now. They don't even cut it anymore.
They still have the football field that's over by the dike on the other side of Green Meadows?
Yeah, we used to play there on Sundays. That was a lot of fun playing over there.
I played there. The years I played HMB, that's where we played Green Meadows on that side behind. Wasn't there a post office over there or something? When you came off of Riggs, they had the creek right there, and then you couldn't see the field because there was a dike there, or it was a mound.
Yeah.
There was a mound, and the field was right below that. So
yeah, that was Sligo Creek Road or something like that, but Sligo Road.
Right.
And you would go right past Tim Conway's house. Past Timmy Conway's house.
Right.
And then it was about maybe 50 yards.
That's so cool. Old times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see if you agree with this statement. If Ovechkin doesn't score his 700th goal soon, this team's going to absolutely implode, because it appears to me that what the offense is all about right now, and maybe no one on the team will actually admit this, but you have to think, in back of their mind, on every play, players are looking for Ovie to see if he's open for a pass instead of playing the puck and what's in front of them. It's hurting everything. The defense, offense, letting the puck get behind him, not clearing the puck out of the zone. Even when they do manage to get a stick on the puck, it's like a lazy clearing shot right back to the opposing offense. Right. It's my opinion that it's really hurting the team. What do you think?
In the back of their minds, they're trying to get him to 700 because there is the pressure of having that done. There's anticipation. And he wanted to get it done while they were here, the last homestand. And, listen, you're right. They tightened up, and they played tight on offense, and they're missing a lot of opportunities, especially on the power play. They've missed a lot of golden opportunities on the power play because there is such a thing as there's one too many passes, too many passes, three too many passes.
Yeah, I actually...
And that's what they're doing because they're trying to get him down low so they can give him either a rebound or an easy shot down low. We say that because it's fresh on our minds. Now, it's in the back of their heads down there, but the last couple of games here in Washington, it was blatantly obvious that they were just trying to feed him. Mm-hmm. Give him the snowbird, let him work it himself, and there was no sense of running the offense.
Right.
They've got to put that away. He's going to get to 700. He's going to get to 700 unless he gets picked off by a bus. He's going to get 700. Because you got to let it come naturally, and they're not allowing it to happen.
The last time we talked about this, we said, and it's in his stats, he scores multiple times 1 out of every 6 games. It's going to happen. So I think they're really pressing what's going on. So on the defensive side, the game begins with the Avalanche, where Dvorak, we've been allowing teams score first for the last 5 games. And there's one particular play, Dvorak, scores on a 4-3 breakaway, right? So Connor Garland suddenly feeds him going right in front of Sigenthaler. It just goes right around like he's standing still. And everybody's still just, lackadaisical, where that should have been an easy clearing defensive play. And, Oshie was there for support, but it's plays like that has become a pattern. And it starts off innocent enough, but for some reason the Caps are allowing goals when they should be blocking and clearing passes.
Well, they're not physical in front of the net. And we talked about this last year, Kevin. Last year we talked about this.
Yeah.
And they shorted up going into the playoffs, but they're not clearing the crease. So the goalie's not getting a good view. Hope he's still in my doghouse because he allowed some stupid goals.
Yeah.
He seemed to have cured himself of that. But the defense, the last couple of outings, for Samsonov, he looked terrible. And a couple of those goals that he let through were crappy goals. And but for the most part, the defense has let both of our goaltenders down. They're not playing physical hockey right now. They're not buying in as a team, and they're not going down low, and they're clearing the slots in the crease area. They're not cleaning it out.
Yeah.
They're not forcing any face-offs down there. They're not putting anybody behind the net. They're not putting any bodies on anybody down. It's simple for us to sit there and look at it and talk about it. And if we can see it, I've always said this, if we can see it, how come they don't see it?
I don't know, but I'm not sure.
Got the bodies to do it.
I'm not sure what the defensive scheme is as well, because one thing on defense I know is that being a defensive guy, our zones are way too wide for the offensive players. Like Jeff Carter during the LA game, when he came screaming down on the right side of Holtby, he was right at the top of the circle, and he just unloaded on Holtby a free shot. Mm-hmm. So when you're coming down at that speed, you got that big of a gap in the zone, and your defensive zone where there's no defensive player player around even to challenge you. In fact, nobody's going to get in front of a shot like that. That's like getting in front of a Ovechkin shot, 100 mile an hour. You just unload it. It's going to be a very, very good goal to stop a shot like that. And I see these defensive zones getting wider and wider for some reason.
Well, you're right about that. The zone, they're playing the body up at the point, and they're forcing those passes down low. And unfortunately, when they're getting those passes down low, somebody's going to shoot the net. And when they shoot the net with a body, they're coming down there full force with a body.
Yeah.
The defense freezes. And when the defense freezes, well, like Craig Laughlin likes to say, tic-tac-toe, there you go. And that's what happened. But it's the truth.
It is true. Yeah.
It's just like, this cliche, it's corny, but it's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave up? They gave up 12 goals in 2 games last week.
Yeah, our percentages are going way, way up. And like I said, I think it's all because what the focus is at the moment. If we were just playing Capitals hockey, where are we going? We're going back and forth, win-loss, 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 win-loss for no reason. And our gaps, like I said, our gaps are getting wider, and it requires us to be that much faster. And to keep the game that fast and 200 feet, we're wearing people out.
Well, we're wearing people out with our speed. We're not wearing people out with our body. I don't give a crap what anybody says. When somebody takes a physical beating,
mm-hmm.
every time you lay a shoulder into them, you're taking 4 or 5 puffs of wind out of them.
Yeah.
And they can go out there and they can skate a 3-minute shift, but you skate a 3-minute shift and you pop them 2 or 3 times, or just once or twice even. You're knocking a little bit of wind out of them, and you're going to shorten that shift. You're going to slow that guy down. I don't care who it is.
Right.
Even Alex Ovechkin. I mean, he takes some shot. He's tired. That kid skates 25 minutes a game.
Oh yeah. I have that stat here somewhere, what his ice time is, but he's out there more than anybody. We lost to a number 19 team, number 3 in the NHL. We're number 3 overall. We've dropped a few places because we have been winning. Our performance looks like we should win, right? We're 33 of 35 faceoffs against Coyote. Our power plays, like you just said, is dismal. We're 0 for 3. We're hitting well. We're taking shots. And like I said, the last 5 games we've fallen behind in the first period, allowing the opponents to score first. And we can't, for some reason, we can't perform at a high level and keep losing. That's just killing the team. So right now we got 24 games left. We're 79 points, third in NHL behind Boston, Tampa Bay. They've snuck in there. And so we have 4 games coming up, home, away, Vegas, Montreal, New Jersey, and Pittsburgh. This is going to be a tough 4-game stretch. If we're losing to a number 19 team, the 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 8th teams are going to give us trouble.
What's going on with the Capitals right now is they got banged really good the last couple of games. I mean, they just gave up a shit ton of goals. And that messes with your psyche, Kevin. And, so they've got to go back to the drawing board on a lot of phases of their game. And they've got to change their style, but they also have to go back to square one and start, doing the basics better. They're back in crawl status. They're learning how to walk again. They got to get back up on their feet. Even though they've lost the last couple of games out west, they were good defensive battles. They weren't giving up big, large amounts of goals. They,
right.
2 here, 3 there. They weren't giving up 5, 6, and 7 goals like they've been doing the last couple of games. When you're playing that kind of defense, you're not breaking out on offense. When you're not breaking out on offense, you're not getting quality opportunities when you get the puck into the zone. And I was watching them, and it's not that they're skating slow. They always skate at a good tempo. It's just the turnovers were killing them. Breaking out, they're getting to, so they're looking over their shoulders a little bit, Kevin.
Right.
They're a little gun shy. So that's what I say. They're in crawl status. And I think the last couple of games, you can see they're ready to crawl out of this. And once they start scoring goals again, look out, brother. And, it could happen tomorrow when or their next game when they play. So you got to look out. They had to downshift.
Right.
They had to downshift and catch their breath a little bit. And it was embarrassing getting the snot kicked out of you the way they were.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we're fans, and that upsets us.
Yeah, we're passionate about this. Yeah, we may sound really mad, but it's because we love our team.
Yeah, well, and we love our team. Well, who loves a team more than us? The team.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So they're looking at themselves, and hey, listen, that's a good locker room.
Yeah,
good locker room.
when Reardon went off on camera, humor. You know, you don't see that very often. What do you think he was telling them?
Expletive. and everything. And listen, we niced everything down.
Yeah.
What he was saying, you know, if you listen to Craig Laughlin, if you listen to Alan May, you know, they nice it down too. Alan May, sometimes he'll slip, but you know, he tells you straight from the horse's mouth. You know, now we've always talked about that Reardon is not a hands-on guy. He's not putting the skates on and going out on the ice with these guys. He teaches and coaches from the other side of the glass.
Right.
I'm not very fond of that style. I still don't think that he has this team under his wing. I really don't. I just think that they lose focus easily, and that's his fault.
And you know what, that's a good point, because being a coach myself, watching other coaches, studying other coaches, when you see a team getting down like this or in a rough spot, and when coaches go off like that, and they think they're doing the right thing by rallying them, you know, get them fired up and all that stuff, but really it's not. You're really showing your weakness as a coach.
Sports talk in the district and around the nation.
With Kevin Copley, Pete Kallish, and Joe Evans.
Maryland, my Maryland, keeping it close should be the motto for this team. Our Terps right now are on an 8-game winning streak, but it hasn't been easy this year, and we're 14.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, we're 14-0 at home. How great is that? So Anthony Cowan, you know, in the last game up in East Lansing, was a dominant player in the game. And if it wasn't for him, you know, Maryland would not have had the rally to win against Michigan State. He scored 11 of those 24 points in the final two minutes of that game, you know, scoring 67-60 to win against Michigan State, and really finished strong, which is something they traditionally haven't been doing this year. That was a good thing to watch, you know, and give it to Cowan, because Mark Turgeon, and, you know, we're guilty of this. You and I, Joe maybe, because Joe's not so much of a big Maryland fan like we are. You know, we've been down on Cowan all year, even last year. But, you know, Coach Turgeon came to his defense this year and said the guard from I'm going to put out there, St. John's College High School, has always proved his critics wrong, hearing the doubters saying that, you know, he's been too little. I've never said that. Not good enough. I never said that either. He just needs to come out stronger. So, you know, he was backing up his senior guard, and he really finished strong. It was really a good thing to watch.
Well, first of all, he's a hell of a competitor. And I've been waiting all year. You hear me bitch and moan and complain about it. I'm waiting for somebody to take the leadership ring.
Yeah.
And he finally has, and it looks like he has a firm hold on it. You know, Sticks had a couple of games where, you know, we don't have any killers on this team. Nobody's mean. We don't have any mean guy. We don't have a pit bull. You know, we don't have a bulldog. We don't have a junkyard dog, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have that.
Jalen is kind of a nice guy, isn't he?
He's just soft. He doesn't like contact, and just, you know, he just,
for a big guy,
you know,
as intimidating. If you saw him come down the alley, big as he is well spoken. He's very polite. I don't think he's got, you know, a killer instinct in him.
Well, again, it's just.
I mean, you either have you don't. I mean, by, you know, just his sheer presence, you would think he has it, but he does. I don't see it. Yeah, I know you don't see it either.
Man, these kids nowadays are just too civilized. A friend of mine, Tom Allen, he's a Baltimore guy. He lives down in Florida, but, you know, he lives and breathes Maryland basketball like we do. And he and I were having a conversation about that. It's the same exact thing, is that there's just no killers on this team. They don't have the kill. They've become civilized. And that doesn't sound like it makes sense, but just think about it, where, you know, these guys just come in and they're, you know, everything's just laid out for them, and they don't have to do anything but show up and play.
It's almost like if you had, well, I'm sure most of them have, you know, that they played in good basketball. They're not the ballers you saw out of Turkey Thicket. Let's put it that way.
No, they're not. There's just no, God, how am I going to say? The AAU has turned collegiate basketball into a street game, because these kids are kind of playing out of control. And they're hard to coach, because they're coming into college ball, and the majority of them that are coming in, especially the biggest recruit on every team, has his eyes on what? An NBA contract. So I got to put 2 years in, and then I'm going to just dump school, and I'm going to go, you know, I'm not even going to class. I'm just going to dump school, and I'm going to enter the NBA draft. So right off the bat, they're coming in with not want to say bad attitude, but, you know, it's just it's not a team concept any longer. You know, none of these guys are coming in and willing to sacrifice a whole lot for the team because they don't want to lose what they potentially have, and that's an NBA contract.
Right.
And some of these guys leave early. So that's why I say these guys are civilized. They've already been told, you got to go to college, but you don't have to stay. Well, God bless, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Back in the 70s, it was called hardship. It was hard for you to break your contract. It was a one-year contract, your scholarship. You resigned it every year. You renewed it every year. But it was hard for you to say that I'm going to break my contract because my dad lost his job and I got to go out there and earn money. So, that was a hardship.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as a hardship anymore.
Right.
I'm making money for your university. I could be making that money myself. So F you. See you later.
And I bet a lot of fans these days don't even understand. You just said hardship. You're like, what is that? They really don't know what that term means. And to be honest with you, I have no idea what the rules and regulations for contracts or the scholarships, you will. Now, what are the limitations on them? It sounds like there's nothing.
No, I mean, you're here to play basketball and be a student. You're a student athlete. Now you're just an athlete.
Yeah.
The guy that's buried on the bench, he's the one that keeps the team GPA up. However, there are some kids that show that they excel in the classroom. I'm not, I'm making it sound like I'm excluding, some of the guys that are there to take advantage of what's put in front of them. But there's guys that are coming in there that are just taking advantage of the facility just to keep their sneakers, fresh for a year until they turn pro.
Well, you can't put all of that on the student athlete too, because look at what Maryland's doing. They're going to build, if they raise the money, a brand new basketball. What are they calling it? A basketball
development center. It's just going to be like what they did to Coalfield House.
Yeah,
football.
They're going to take out the big stairwell, if you will, right in front of the Xfinity Center, and they're going to have this huge conglomerate of a basketball, I don't know, workout area, whatever you want to call it. I actually can't even imagine what they would put in it.
I think it's like $20 million or something stupid.
It's
like
$36 million, I read.
Is that what it is? Okay.
They've raised $20 million so far, but the total bill for this thing is going to be $36 million.
We'll return after these messages.
Perfect.
If Curly Bird or anybody of these older, the historical professors from the University of Maryland or any university would hear that a school is going to put, first of all, $36 million into anything, but for a sport, instead of putting it into research like cancer research or something else, it's harder. Sometimes you kind of wonder, where is the emphasis going here?
Somebody was talking about Nebraska just got like something from the state to their athletic department, and I think it was $20 million, and football got 19 of it.
Good.
Basketball didn't even get a million. So I mean, it's funny. It's funny, but it's sad.
It's sad, but ESPN, we talked about this too. I mean, I always felt that ESPN put the slippery slope in all of this. But when they came on board and they started 2 contracts and all this other stuff, they didn't personally, but they advertised it, emphasized it, and glorified it. In other words, it's become a slippery slope, and it's just, unless we were talking earlier, on an earlier show about the gambling and how it could kill sports. If sports get killed because of gambling, there's a lot of bankruptcies on the horizon.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It really is. The purity of sport right now is just, I coached youth as you did, and then you coached high school. So you got to see, I prepared kids to play high school ball. I kept it fun. I taught them, and they learned discipline. This is what you're going to go through, but it's going to be a little bit more intense. And I taught these kids how to get to the next level and what to expect as they got to the next level. These kids don't give a crap anymore. They have themselves convinced at 12 years old that, I'm going to be a professional. I'm going to be a professional athlete.
Sports talk in the district and around the nation.
With Kevin Copley, Pete Callis, and Joe Evans.
Well, let's move on. Get back to Maryland really quick. Maryland, of course, we're number 1 in the Big Ten. Penn State right on our heels, though. And I was looking at stats and things like that. We're no different than Penn State. We're actually, of course, we're a little bit better. One thing I noticed with Penn State is they have not struggled like we have against the lower tier teams. So that's something we got to get better with. What we keep talking about this year, spotting our opponents 10 points and finding a way to win at the end. Our defense, our total rebounds have got to get better. What's the points on turnover? Of course, turnovers. Oh my God! Bench points, second chance points, fast points, and fast break. They go up and down, and it's not consistent. So whatever we do, let's talk about the last 8 games. Going all the way back to January 18th against Purdue, we were down by 16 at the half, and somehow we turned around and win that game. And then Northwestern, we're down by 14. But since then, we've only been down once, and that was against Iowa. But ever since then, we've been up. And the last one, the largest lead at the half was against Nebraska, and then, of course, we went against Michigan State. So we are getting better. Our report card's looking good at the moment. You want to look at it that way. We have 6 games to go. So the old saying is not where you start off, it's where you finish. And we're starting to look stronger now, so we're going to finish strong. So the current bracketology still has that number 2 seed, which makes sense, in the South, and we'll probably play again a 15 seed team. UC Irvine, I've seen Winthrop, Murray State. It's looking good at the moment. I think we're really going to have a good shot moving, hopefully winning everything in the Big Ten this year and going deep in the tournament.
You would hope so. I still don't trust this team as far as I could throw them, and I love them more than anybody on earth. I love them more than the kids' mothers on the team. I love them. I do. I'm not kidding you, Kevin. I just love Maryland basketball, and I'm guilty of talking crap about them, and that's just out of frustration.
Yeah.
It's like fighting with your girlfriend, and that's just how that's how I've approached it my whole life. They're just, there's something that I still think that they're missing. Now, the other day, yesterday against Michigan State, they beat the crap out of Michigan State in the first half. They could have buried them. They could have buried them and pulled away from them, and it could have been a laugh. And they just, they hit these spurts, and you want to talk about learning how to walk again. They hit these spurts, Kevin, where the other team figures them out, and they can't do anything. They're not making adjustments on the fly to do something different and be successful in that. See, and that's where I get mad at Mark Turgeon, is that he's a good X's and O's guy, and he's getting the job done. I don't know how he's getting it done this year, because he's only getting it done with 6 players, to be honest with you.
It is.
This team was supposed to be deep, and it's not deep. So, that's actually a good chalk mark for Turgeon. But he's not a good in-game coach, and he got out-coached by Tom Izzo, who I think is probably one of the better collegiate basketball coaches. I'll put him in my top 10.
Yeah,
of all time.
He's got the record to prove it, so yeah.
He's earning it. So, Tom Izzo, kicked the snot out of Turgeon, especially in the first 5 minutes of the second half. And just, it looks good until somebody punches you in the mouth, and then you're stunned. And that's what Michigan State did. They punched Maryland in the mouth. They almost stole the game.
Yeah, I saw it. They looked like they were coming back. They were hitting the threes, and we weren't. Cowens took over, and that was the difference. That's the killer you've been looking for.
And who'd have thought that Cassius Winston would have been playing as lackadaisical as he was?
Oh, yeah. I told Patty.
He only hit 30% of his shots.
Yeah, I told Patty that's the guy to watch out for. He will win this game for Michigan State, and he didn't show up at the end.
We'll return after these messages.
That sounds perfect.
For spring training for 2020. So here we are. God bless baseball. We're at it again. So by all indications right now, all the talk we've been having about third base, looks like Carter Keyboom has the position. It's his to lose, apparently. So even though they haven't named a starter at third, but Mike Rizzo keeps reiterating that Carter Keyboom is our number 1 prospect in 2019, and he will have every opportunity to claim it, noting Keyboom's high baseball IQ and so forth. And he did well at Fresno and down in minors, and he feels good about it. So So look forward for him to be at third base. But the other thing is, I was looking at the unofficial roster so far. The names that we see are understandable. Suzuki will be the catcher. Oh, this is for opening day. This is what I'm looking at. Scherzer on the mound, Suzuki behind the plate. But Eric Thames, what do you think? Is Eric Thames going to start over Zimmerman? Because what I keep hearing is that Zimmerman's going to be like a role player this year.
Well, Zimmerman is going to be a role player this year. But Howie Kendrick can play the first bag.
Yeah, but they're going to put him at second.
Huh?
They're going to put him at second.
Listen, it's going to be infield by committee until they find something.
No, what I'm saying on opening day is going to be Scherzer, Suzuki, Eric Thames, Kendrick at second, Turner, of course, is short, Keyboon at third, Soto in left, Robles in center, and Eaton in right. That's going to be. But I'm surprised they wouldn't just. What do you think? I think they should start with Zimmerman on opening day at first. I think
emotionally, you got to have him. Man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
If he starts 60, 70 games this year, he's doing it. I look for him. I look for him to probably start 60 games this year.
He didn't do it last year.
Well,
he only got 52 games in last year.
Yeah. So I was close when I say 60.
Yeah.
He the last 5 or 6 years he hasn't been able to stay healthy, and it's a pinched nerve here, and it's a sore back there, and it's a pulled quad, it's a hamstring. For some reason, I don't know if he's not stretching. I don't know what it is about Zimmerman. He hurts his neck washing his hair. But I love him. He's a great guy to have on the team. The team, rallies around him. He's just got to stay healthy. I don't think he's going to be an important piece of this team this year. I think they brought him back and paid him the little bit of money that they did pay him just to appease the fans, because my God, I could just hear people jumping off the bridge now, letting Rendon go, and then not only letting Rendon go, but they let Ryan Zimmerman retire. Where he only wants a couple of $1 million a year, and you're letting him go, and people are still pissed off because the big country or big city's gone. He's with the Mets now.
Right.
It's professional sports. These guys move on. Guys get old. They have to retire.
Yeah,
but I think Zimmerman has a year. I think he had 2 in him. I think it would have been better for him to sign a 2-year deal. They may need him again.
Well, I would not doubt that, because you never know how he's going to hold up. He's been banged up. He was healthy enough last year to give the contribution he did, in the playoffs and everything. But traditionally, Cowboys had a rough time. He sat out probably 50-some games the year before.
His legs are a problem.
Yeah,
Howie's legs are a problem. He's got a huge butt and huge legs, but he's always pulling something. He's always turning something. It's an ankle or a knee, and so yeah. Listen, like I said, it's going to be infield by committee. It's going to be infield by committee this year, and as long as they're hitting the ball, our starting rotation is going to hold it down.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what I like about this infield is that I think your second, even your shortstop players, 3 guys second to 3 guys shortstop, and the 4 you have sliding for third base, was very unusual. You can, like you said, by committee, you can rotate these guys in any position in the infield, which is going to be a real help for us. And Eric Thames, so I don't know. He has the ability to hit anywhere from 25 to 31 home runs. His best season was in 2017. He hit 31 home runs. He's traditionally a 250 hitter. But, look at Zimmerman. His career he's a 279 hitter. In the last couple of years, he's been 250 as well. So hopefully he's a strong hitter as far as hitting for power. They're going to put him in there to hit all or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's, if he can do that and do it well and hit, hopefully maybe get close, over 300 maybe. That's unusual, but Anthony Rendon did it. We'll have something special at first base, but I don't think it's going to happen. But we'll see.
Here's the key, Kevin. Last year Victor Robles batted down at the bottom of the lineup. A lot of times Davey would put him in the 9 hole.
Right.
He'd put the pitcher in front of him, and Robles was getting on base enough. That's second leadoff. Once you get into the flow of the game, second or third inning, you got a guy like Robles hitting in the 9 hole. Mm-hmm. That's basically batting second leadoff.
You just pointed out something I have been overlooking as well. We have 4 absolute speedsters on this team as well. You get somebody on base, you could damn near get them around with little or no bounce.
Small ball.
Small ball, or just straight out stealing.
Well, we were supposed to play small ball last year, and we had beer muscles, and that was a good thing.
Right.
Well, going into camp, and Robles is an exciting player, and he's another one of the bright stars that we have in this franchise, and we have control over him for the next 6 years, I believe it is. He could be our leadoff man. Eaton could be number 2, and then Trey will be number 3.
I can see that. Yep. Especially the way he hit last
and then
year.
Soto could be number 4, and Howie could be number 5. And, so here we are. We're getting into we've already gone through the top, 2/3 of the lineup, and there's some steady bats there. Kenny Boom has got to learn how to hit major league pitching.
Right.
Bottom line.
He's got to get the deer, the headlight and the deer look. He's got to get rid of that and realize you're the guy now.
He is the guy.
Yeah. This is it. This is for you. Let's go to work.
Well, in baseball lore, the 8 and the 9 hitters, usually the 2 weakest bats in the lineup, your pitcher and then the guy ahead of them, so we have to go 7. We have to get 7 in the lineup that can put the ball in play. We got to go 7 in the lineup down, from the top to the bottom to seventh position in the lineup that puts the ball in play. The only way so I don't give a crap who's playing third base as long as he's not giving up a ton of errors and hurting our pitching staff. We've got to have 7 guys in our lineup every day that's putting the ball in play.
Yeah, and that's another important part you just said, hurting our pitchers. Absolutely. Letting balls go by a third can kill a pitcher's, pitch count and get him in trouble. Absolutely.
Well, that's the thing. The pitch count is everything.
Yeah, especially now where a guy's got to pitch a minimum 3 innings.
Yep.
You can't pull.
Nope.
Unless he gets injured, of course.
Of course, if he gets injured.
Yeah.
But, hey, listen, I'm Max Scherzer's my everything. And he's getting to the point in time of his career where dumb, stupid little nagging things are going to put him down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. The broken nose last year was just an anomaly. That that was actually. It hurt us by not having him in the lineup, but it was actually funny that he broke his nose and
made him look.
He even made fun of himself.
Yeah, it made him look mean.
It did make him look mean.
It's like
crazy.
that scene. Remember that scene in Slapshot where Walt, the bus driver, banging up the bus, and what was his name? Braden came down and said, "What are you doing?" He looks at him and says, "I'm making it look mean." That was Max Scherzer's black eye. I love that movie.
Well, but our pitching staff is going to be nasty this year.
Yeah.
On paper, they're probably the nastiest pitching staff on earth.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no getting around it. I mean, Scherzer, Strauss, Corbin. Then you got Anibal Sanchez, Joe Ross, Eric Fetty.
You got Strickland, you got Rainey, you got Hudson, you got Harris now. It's insane. You would not taken this bet that you would have gotten Harris after the World Series. First of all, that's actually a real surprise. But we do have it,
and it's exciting to think that for losing what we lost in the off season, coming into this season, there's a couple of experts, quote unquote, air quotes, that picked the Mets, and why wouldn't they?
For this year?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they have us second, the Braves third, Phillies fourth. They have the Phillies, a bunch of writers have the Phillies finishing below 500. Phillies didn't do themselves any favor in the starting lineup, or starting rotation.
I have not paid attention to them at all. What did they hurt themselves this year?
Yeah, they just didn't do anything to pick themselves up in their starting rotation. Their lineup is as lethal as any lineup in Major League Baseball.
Well, the team I think is going to.
They just don't have the starting pitch.
I just think the team's going to win it all is the Angels. Between Trout and Rendon themselves, they could win it.
Pitching, Kevin. It's all about pitching, brother, and you know that.
I do know that, and I think they have enough offense to counteract their pitching staff, which is, it's a shot in the dark. But
quietly been an Angels fan for a while, and I'm going to keep an eye on the Angels. I don't hate Anthony Rendon.
Oh, absolutely not. I hope he does well
out there.
I look forward to seeing his name in the Hall of Fame one day.
I do too.
Yep.
And it was a privilege to watch a guy like him play, because we were talking earlier about kids being civilized now. They're not remember when Apollo Creed brought Rocky Balboa out to LA and put him in that leaky, smelly, dusty gym, tried to toughen him up a little bit.
Right.
That's where I got civilized from. You got civilized, Rock. Now it's time to get the eye of the tiger. Rendon had that eye of the tiger. He knew he had money. And he did say all along, you know, I might be contradicting myself, and he contradicted himself in saying this, is that he didn't want to go through what Bryce Harper went through. He almost did. I'm going to make a decision based on what my family wants, and which he did.
Yeah.
I think his wife wanted out of D.C. She wanted out of, she didn't want to live inside the belt.
It's hard if you're not from this area.
Right.
And for the people who adapt, some people never adapt to it. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's
so you know he's a Texas guy, and you know, listen, weather's important, especially when you're raising a family, and you know, education's important, especially when you're raising a family. So you have to take all those things into consideration. Where the selfish fan like me, I'm selfish. I was upset when Rendon left. I was like, what do you mean? Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah, I was too. God, yeah.
Once you take your breath and you look at it for face value, he made a smart move. He would have gotten every nickel.
He's a very, very mature person and athlete. And, you know, you go back to Morgan Wooten, you know, God, family, school, then basketball. He fits that mold to a T.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely. So you know, I don't think we played the Angels for 2 years. So you know, we're not. He'll never get booed in D.C.
No. If he does, it's because the people never saw him play. Yeah.
Never saw him play. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So,
but you know, one thing
a lot of people that don't know shit from applesauce. So.
That's true. One thing we do have to look forward to, which is kind of it's in the back of my mind, and you know, I hope the listeners understand what's headed our way this year, is that everybody is coming to beat us. We're the World Series champions, right?
We have a target on our back.
We got a huge target. It's not going to be easy. And that's why I've been so worried about these positions. We got in order to have a decent year, because these people are coming after us. It's no joke.
It's going to be fun. Baseball has been fun for me. Baseball's been fun for me ever since 2005 when the Nationals came home.
Yeah.
They were terrible for the first 2 years, but you know what? We fell in love with them, and we learned all about Major League Baseball all over again.
All over again. That's true.
We really did. We really did. Everybody says, D.C.'s not a baseball town. Oh, crap. D.C. is a baseball town.
Always has been.
But D.C., you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, there's a large quantity of Mets fans there. You know, there's a large quantity of, it's D.C. It's a melting pot. People move here because of what? Because of, you know, the big government jobs, contractors, Northern Virginia. You know, we're, you know, the .com, the East Coast.
Right.
Silicon Valley of the East Coast, for crying out loud, is in Fauquier County, for God's sake. So, you know, that's why people from all over the damn country move here, and they go to our baseball stadium. They go to watch their favorite team play.
Yeah.
I don't fault them. If I lived in Pittsburgh, I'd go see the Nationals 3 or 4 times a summer.
True.
Why wouldn't I? You know.
You know, and we see that, and we're getting off. I'm getting off track a little bit, but when the Capitals travel, when they scan the crowd, and when the camera's in the crowd, and say they're in Montreal, you'll see at least a dozen Capital jerseys. You know.
Sure.
You know, people love our teams here. And
well, you know, it's a big thing in Philadelphia, Kevin. It's a big thing in Philadelphia. They have a rivalry with New York as they do with Washington. The rivalry with New York is bigger than it is in Washington, but they've been able to take advantage of Washington teams, Philadelphia has, where they would come down when the Capitals were terrible. Flyers fans would come down by the busload, where there would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 fans coming down, because it's only a 2.5-hour ride.
Yeah.
And they would come down and they would pack the Capitol Center. You know, there would be, you know, sections with nothing but Philadelphia fans, Flyers. Well, when the Nationals came home, it was a big thing for Philadelphia. They called it Citizens Bank Park South. You know and remember, and then there was that one campaign that we're not going to sell tickets to you over the phone if you have a Pennsylvania address. The Nationals actually came out and did that.
Right.
Eagles fans would come down in droves. You know, it's a big thing for them. They're very provincial. They're very, you know, the city of brotherly love. They love their city.
Sports talk in the district and around the nation.
With Kevin Copley, Pete Callis, and Joe Evans.
Before we sign off here, the first game will be the 22nd Saturday, and it's against Houston. So I hope that game's it is televised, right? Our first 2 games.
I believe it is. Yeah, I think Masson has it.
And then we play Houston again. The first game on the 22nd is a home game for Houston, and then we play Houston on the 23rd. It's our home game. And then we have the Mets, and then we're off, and then we play Houston again on Thursday, the 27th. Then we play the Rays on the 28th, and then we're off that weekend. And then we play Monday against the Marlins Orioles on Tuesday. That'll be a good game. And then what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more games in February. It's here. Get a chance to go down south, go, man, because I don't have the time to take, but it's beautiful.
Well, I got to tell you, I still talk about it fondly, Kevin.
Yeah, I would love to go down there and just sprawl out and just watch these games.
Just Dodgertown was probably as close to a baseball cathedral as you're going to get, other than the big stadiums, of course. I mean, that place was just, you want to talk about sacred ground.
Yeah. Now they're in Arizona, right? They moved that.
What's that?
They're in Arizona now, right?
Yeah, they moved to Arizona, which is a shame. It's still called Dodgertown.
Right. They're in the Cactus League.
And they still play the Florida League.
Grapefruit.
Not the Grapefruit League. That's Major League Spring Ball. The something Florida League. God bless it, Kevin. Why is it slipping my mind?
Because we're getting old.
Anyway, what's that?
We're getting old. That's why.
I am. They still use it for that, but there's no longer a Dodger team that plays
right.
And that.
Right.
But there was that one day, the day that actually Frank Robinson told me to start buying tickets. We're going to be there next year. That was the day that I ate my height in Dodger dogs. I ate six Dodger dogs that day. And that was the greatest day of my life, other than the day my daughter was born.
That's good stuff. Okay, here's the bonus question for all those playing along. You said something on Facebook that kind of started a storm. How crazy would it be if the Astros win the 2020 World Series? That would be freaking insane.
My friend Matt O'Brien, who's a big Oriole fan, asked that question, and that would be crazy. Would have people would lose their minds.
Yeah, I'm losing my mind thinking about it. Debbie Lincoln's put out there goes, no.
Yeah,
yeah, it would be crazy. Debbie Lincoln's Kehoe. I keep calling her Lincoln because her last name is Kehoe.
Yeah, well, I'll always call her Link.
Yeah.
She's awesome. With the way the players are starting to open up their mouths now, and they're very vocal. Not all of them, but enough of them are coming out, and they're really kicking the Astros in the teeth.
Yeah.
Now, I like Dusty Baker. Now, again, I was a Dodger fan, so Dusty Baker and Steve Garvey were my guys. When Dusty Baker was our manager in D.C., I was beating my chest. I was proud as punch that he was here, and I hated when they didn't bring him back. Mm-hmm. So, I love Dusty Baker, and listen, if anybody's going to be able to calm things down, a bad situation that the Astros are in right now, it's going to be Dusty Baker. And people are getting pissed off at him because he's starting to plead with Manfred about, I don't want my guys getting hit in the ribs with pitches. I don't want my guys getting rushed back. I don't want players talking about my players in the media about what happened over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, but I hate the fact that
it's done. It's done.
Is somebody?
I can understand.
Yeah, but is somebody expecting him to apologize for last year? Because he's apologizing for stuff he has no. It's not his. He wasn't there. Is management telling him to go out and apologize for us? That's unfair.
I think it's Dusty Baker. Well, Dusty Baker is doing it on his own because that's the kind of guy that Dusty is. I'm trying to quell a bad situation. I'm trying to move forward. I understand where Dusty's coming from, and I can appreciate that. But in this day and age, it's going to be so difficult to be a Houston Astro this year because you want to talk about fans.
Yeah, they really haven't apologized for anything, though. It's like Anna Green Gables.
Their apology sucked ass.
Yeah. Do you remember the books and the miniseries Anna Green Gables? Well, there's this one scene, this is kind of goofy for sports, but there's this one part in the series of books that Anna Green Gables insults a lady for not being very attractive. So she was an orphan. She was brought up in this Victorian home, and she didn't really know that was rude and not socially acceptable. So the mother takes her to the lady who she insults, and in her best terms, she says, "I'm sorry that you're so unattractive." She never apologized for saying it. That's what the Houston Astros are doing right now. We're sorry you called us cheating. That's all they're saying.
And life goes on. Well, you know what?
I don't know if I will say that.
now, in my estimation, Kevin, it is. For him to say, oh, I'm sorry, let's go play golf on Saturday, screw that.
Yeah, it's not an apology, first of all.
No apologizing for what they did.
No. Well,
there's no apologizing. No,
you do.
There's no apologizing for what they did.
Right,
because they did not admit to doing it.
Well,
I'm sorry that it happened. It's unfortunate.
You've got to give at least a half-hearted apology, first of all, and they're not doing that part. You can't apologize for what they did because they damaged baseball.
They did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think you're absolutely right. And this one statement should go viral. And you were the author of this. You said the Washington Nationals saved baseball by winning the World Series.
By kicking their ass, especially in that house of horrors, if you will.
Yeah.
That Watergate. They beat Watergate. They did.
Mm-hmm.
They did. That place was wired for sound, and they beat it. They beat it.
I hope somebody within Major League Baseball hears that and puts that in the Hall of Fame one day. Your quote, because you're the only person I've ever. I don't care. ESPN, Washington Post, no one's ever said what you said, and it makes total sense.
Well, I mean, again, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I look at things. I like purity, and I just don't like the way some of the things go. Everybody's looking to get an edge. That's why I say get the electronics out of the game. Well, the Houston Astros took it to the next level.
Thank you for listening to the Sports Talk on YouTube with your hosts Kevin Copley and analysts Pete Gallish and Joe Evans. If you have any questions or comments, please send them to Home Game Sports Fan Reply, and we will send you a reply right back. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you here next week on Home Game Sports.